Hey, everybody. It's Eddie from Tokyo. This is your cryptocurrency update from Japan. And this is a redo, and it goes along with an apology. And I think I will make that quite clear in the middle portion of this video. Yeah, I had just one of those days. Have you ever had just one of those days? I can tell you I have many in this space. The cryptocurrency space is, wow, it's a tough one. And a few hours ago, lots of information came over the media that there had been a minor hard fork, leaving everyone to wonder in the world of Ethereum what had happened. And so I think that when Binance briefly said that they paused the Ethereum withdrawals, that kind of had everybody taking a deep breath, and CZ went on to say that he thought there was a possible split in the chain. So the article pointed to Infura, and Infura is one of those backbones that provide data to the Ethereum network for services. And yes, they did indeed go down. They had a major outage. They provide that service through an API. And they give services to small developers, medium-sized developers, big developers, all the way up to entities like Uniswap, MakerDAO, Compound, Coinbase Wallet, MetaMask, and it appears also Binance, because CZ was very aware of it right from the get-go. So Infura offered up the apology for the service disruption, and they said it would be resolved. Infura did not apparently upgrade their code, and you can see here this is the uptime. Yeah, still major outage, 4 hours and 59 minutes. It looks like it's still needing to be fixed. So it is super recommended in this space to run your own node for Ethereum. It's recommended by many developers because it highlights the central point of failure, which is really a risk when you have a centralized service provider. And the team lead at Ethereum, Peter, tweeted that everyone should learn from this, not blame, but as he goes on to say, we all messed up. So Ethereum, the price, never blinked. Never blinked. In fact, it's still up over 3%. So did I say this was a rough day for me? Yeah. Well, it is a very rough space. Peter Brandt was at it again. He was tweeting that, XRP should be declared as a security, and they would already declare it as a security if the SEC understood crypto, and that this was a classic case of the market being manipulated by a bag holder. So yeah, these are always the tweets that you just kind of take a big sigh and then you look at what's going on in the space, because regulation is definitely a situation that has to be solved with XRP. And this is why Ripple has been pretty vocal about it recently. Many articles today came out and had everybody buzzing about Biden choosing this gentleman, Gary Gensler, to assist him in the transition. So I was thinking, wow, okay, I need to do a deep dive, an extra full version of research for my Patreon members. But honestly, not focusing on politics, but focusing on details, which was a huge mistake I made, because the election has not been called yet. I put out this summary of the version that I did for the Patreon members. And I was just really seriously trying to look at if he is slated for this position and will be a part of the transition for the Federal Reserve, the banking and security regulation, how might that affect XRP? Because I'm very sensitive to getting this solved as an XRP holder. And honestly, I failed to have the sensitivity that the election has not been called. And I was just making an assumption. And I uploaded this condensed recap of my Patreon video in a summary, and wow, did I notice very, very fast through the comments that were flying in that I had made a big mistake. And I apologize for that. I didn't mean to make anybody angry. And I was not taking a position. It was not some political message. I was just totally focused, laser focused on details, trying to find out how this might affect the space. And I did what we say in Japan. I failed to read the air. And I admit that was a huge mistake on my part. And I just want to apologize to anybody who I offended in doing that. And I'll wait. But at the same point is if, and I mean if he is tasked with this transition, does he know anything about XRP? And I found out, yeah, he sure does. Oh, I just was going to show you that I had taken my video dark. That's why I'm redoing this. That's always painful to do. You put a lot into getting a video done, and then to take it dark within 30 minutes of the upload. It's not easy, but it's okay. And I think that I'm really glad that I'm just going with an onward positive point, and I don't want all that research to go to waste. Because in September 2018, Mr. Gensler attended a meeting through a conference call, video call, in which Ripple gave a 22-slide presentation. And that presentation very much focused on XRP and the solution that it provides for solving liquidity. So I'm sure he knows a lot about Ripple and XRP. And Gary Gensler, his background is very interesting. He was the co-author of this book, which is called The Great Mutual Fund Trap. It's a book that presents common sense investing advice for middle-income Americans. It was published in 2002. And what I think is fascinating is that because his parents never went to college, he says that his father mustered a living by buying up old cigarette machines and used pinball machines to place them inside of bars. And then he would go with his dad to help them make the rounds of collection, and they would count nickels. And I just thought, wow, that is some real valuable life lesson that he learned there. In 2010, he was garnered with the reputation for clamping down on Wall Street, and he was quite the guy when it came to Obama giving him that position to be the chairman of the Commodity Futures and Trading Commission. And this is a time that he, as he writes and speaks about a lot, he says that the regulatory system failed the country in the 2008 meltdown. So he really got this reputation of being hard charging. And I have this New York Times article that is archived where it talks about when he is handing over his power when Obama decided to make a shift in January, 2014, he gave the position, he replaced Mr. Gensler with Timothy Masad. Timothy was pretty lucky. He got kind of this blank slate. And the New York article, the Times article, says that during the time that he was in power, he had his finger on every button, and that Wall Street was hoping for a friendlier regulator. I think he was a little tough. Obama did praise him for preventing future crises, which I don't think he can really take credit for that now, but he can take credit for enacting a lot of oversight on derivatives trading. And now he is currently the MIT Media Lab's Digital Currency Initiative advisor. So he's very much deep in the space still. When I listen to a lot of videos, you can see he's very well versed in this space. This is a keynote that he did at Harvard Law School in May 2019. And he talked really at great length about what is money. He passed out a bunch of chocolate bitcoins and said, "Do you think this is money?" He explained that money is just basically a social construct, very much like Bitcoin. There's hardly any difference between the shells that were traded on the island of Yap or the cowrie shells that were used in ancient times as an instrument of payment as Bitcoin is today. And so, yeah, he really knows the space, smart contracts, and its relevancy to fintech. The interesting thing, too, is when he asked the people who were listening to his keynote, he had them raise their hand if they owned any cryptocurrency, and he got about half of the room raising their hand. That was May 2019. I think that's pretty high. And then he also spoke at MIT. And this is, again, May 2019. And he was asked the most interesting question at the end of a Q&A. He was asked, why don't regulators regulate cryptocurrency out of existence? And you're going to hear him in this short response that he doesn't believe that it's the government's job to ban technology. In fact, he really sees himself as someone who understands that there are benefits to tax, and he is very aware of the anti-money laundering, and he is also very focused on investor protection. So I want you to listen to this, and then I have a comment based on what he says here. Let me see, I have to go to 4709. So here we are, right there.
Okay, last question.
Last question.
Why don't regulators regulate cryptocurrencies out of existence? Aren't they mainly tax evasion and illegal activity conduits?
All right. So crypto came along. At first, nobody even knew it. The U.S. Department, I'm just going to use the U.S., but it's true around the globe. The first question is how to tax it. U.S. Department of Treasury between 2011 and 2013 figured that all out, and it's property. If you have a capital gain, you pay your capital gain, and so forth. We're going through this period now where we're sort of settling down, or some of them securities and some of them not. But it's not been in really any country the official sector's view that they've got to, what was the word, regulated out of existence? Yeah. Some say China has, but they didn't. In the fall of 2017, China said they, quote, banned initial coin offerings and they banned crypto exchanges. Before they did that, about 60% of the trading between Bitcoin and fiat currencies was Bitcoin versus renminbi. And subsequently, it's usually 50 to 60% US dollars, Japanese yen, and so forth. So the Chinese authorities were basically trying to tamp down on renminbi, Bitcoin cross, but they have capital controls. For most other countries, the regulators said, we're pulling it inside the regulatory perimeter. It's an asset for tax purposes. We're pulling it inside the anti-money laundering, I'll call it perimeter. Many countries have decided not to pull it inside the security or investor protection perimeter. Here in the U.S., we have. Jay Clayton, I think rightly, the head of the SEC, has, because we have different securities laws in this country, which includes the word investment contract inside the securities laws. So the question is not whether an initial coin offering is a security, is it an investment contract? And if it is, then it's a security. So at the core is, I think most governments, and I would agree with this, feel it's not their job to ban something. It's to say this new technology will be technology neutral. Can we bring it inside the socially accepted parameters of tax law, anti-money laundering, investor protection, and the like? So I think we're probably done by this clock.
That's the end of that Q&A. He sees himself as the middle of the road guy. He compares, like on the extremist side, the BTC Maxi like Tim Draper, he says, who wears the Bitcoin tie and wears the Bitcoin socks, that he's not that way, and nor is he like on the far extreme side of being anti-crypto either. I think he really recognizes the value of the technology, and I think he understands the space, and I think he really wants to have a regulated space, which would be a good thing for XRP, should he get that position. So again, I apologize if I made an error in my too small focus on the details and not recognizing that we don't know yet the outcome officially. So please, I'm really, really sorry if I offended anybody. All right, let's jump to a little fluff, okay? So I've done a couple of fluffs on capsule hotels in Japan, and this is one in Shinjuku that I have talked about because it's super popular, especially with foreigners, for people who are staying just a 1 or 2 or 3 nights or even longer, because it's so inexpensive and convenient, safe, clean. It's in Shinjuku, so it's really in the heart of the city, and it was very inexpensive, like $30, $40 a night, US dollars, and that's a really amazing price when you are in Shinjuku of Tokyo to stay, because it's kind of expensive for hotels. And so this business, of course, has been affected, and it's needed to reinvent itself. Well, they have taken those spaces that once gave people a place to stay and turned them into these mini rent by the hour offices, a private space for you to do your work. And it may seem crazy, but I think that so many people are feeling like they need to get away from home a little bit, especially for those who have a house full with small children and trying to do work. And so if you need just to get away, to have some peace and quiet, you can get one of these for about $5 US an hour. And if you want to stay all day, it's about the same price as it was for the evening. It's $30 US for an all-day rental. And I don't know how popular it is, but I do think that the people who are reinventing themselves in this new norm is really fascinating. All right, everybody. Yes, do take care. Sayonara for now. Bye-bye.